Hello beautiful people, thank you for stopping by my channel. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make this very beautiful dishwashing liquid, and it's very simple, contains just few ingredients that you can lay your hands on. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, keep watching. Our dishwashing liquid is going to contain three very important ingredients. This is the first ingredient, and this is sodium lauryl sulfate, popularly called SLS. Your SLS might come in this rice form like mine, and it might also come in the powdered form. Anyone is fine. We're going to start by soaking our SLS in a bit of water so as to dissolve it. You can use room temperature water, or you could also use warm water. The water shouldn't be too much, it should just be little enough to dissolve the SLS. Now make sure that your SLS sits really well in the water, and then this is what it's going to look like. Now that the SLS is in the water, we're going to have to leave it to dissolve for some hours. So you're going to cover up the bowl of SLS and water, and then we're going to keep this to dissolve for about 8 hours or more. You can also leave it overnight, the longer the better. This is 8 hours later, and here is our SLS. Once you open it up, this is what it looks like. It is completely dissolved. As you can see, this is it. If you leave it for up to 24 hours, you have an even better solution. So now that our SLS is completely dissolved, we can go ahead with making our liquid soap. This is the bowl I'll be using to make the soap. Make sure that your bowl is very clean, and also make sure that it can contain the entire amount of soap you're making. I'm going to begin by adding my water into the bowl. The amount of water you use depends on how thick you want your soap to be. So if you want a very thick soap, then you add less water, and if you want a very watery soap, then you add more water. The next ingredient we'll be using to make this soap is salt. This is just your regular and normal cooking salt. The salt acts as both a thickener and a stabilizer in our liquid soap. We're going to add the salt straight into our water. This is like making a salt and water solution. Once you add the salt into the water, make sure you mix very well to ensure that the salt dissolves in the water. The process of making this soap has a lot of mixing, so make sure you have the strength and also make sure you have the time. You cannot rush when making this soap. It has to be well mixed. This is our next ingredient. This is Texapon. It is the surfactant, so it's going to help remove stains, and it's also going to make our liquid soap to lather. Texapon is also called SLES. Now you're going to gradually add the Texapon into the salt and water solution. After adding the Texapon into the salt and water solution, the next thing to do is to mix it properly. You need to mix properly until there are no chunks of Texapon in the water anymore. The Texapon takes a little bit of time to dissolve, so ensure you take your time to mix it very well. You don't want your soap to have lumps, so make sure you mix very well. As you keep mixing, you'll notice that your soap will become very cloudy and foamy like this. Don't worry, it is completely fine. This is how it looks. If you mixed very well, then you should have something like this, and then you should have no chunks of the Texapon in your mixture. Now it's time to add our other ingredients. This is the SLS that we dissolved in water earlier on. Now we're going to add this into our mixture. The SLS will help to also thicken up our soap and to make it more foamy. Now after adding in the SLS, you're going to mix very well again and ensure that there are no lumps as we mix. As you mix, you'll notice that your soap will thicken up more again, and that's because of the SLS. Remember I mentioned that there are three major ingredients in this soap: the SLS, the salt, and the Texapon. We have added all three of them into it right now, and at this stage you can just cover this up, leave it to sit for 24 hours and begin to use it. But if you would like to add more ingredients, let's add the additives. This is my powdered coloring. You can use any coloring of your choice, and if you find the liquid coloring, you can use that also. I'm going to start by adding just a little water into the coloring and mix it up. I don't want to add it directly into the soap in its powdered form so that it does not form grains in my soap. Now I'm just going to add in the coloring bit by bit. I suggest you don't add it all at once, just add it gradually until you get the color that you desire. Now I just added a little bit, and then I'm going to mix it and see what it gives me. Then I can add more if I need. Ensure that you mix very well so that you're sure that the color gets to every part of the soap. You don't want some parts of the soap having color and the rest parts not having any color, so make sure you mix very well. Once you get your desired shade just like this, it's time to allow the soap to sit for a while so that we can get that transparent looking soap. So right now, what I'm going to do is to cover the soap up using my cling film. You can use anything you have to cover it up. You can use a lid also. Now, after covering it up, we are going to leave this to sit for 24 hours. Once it sits, the bubbles will disappear and we'll know the exact texture of our soap. Now, this is after 24 hours. As you can see, all the bubbles have disappeared. Now we can see how our soap looks like. It's beautiful and it's transparent looking. This is the consistency of the soap. It's not too thick and it's also not too watery. I like this consistency. If you want a thicker soap, then you can just add less water when making yours. But if you want something even more watery than this, then you add more water. Our final ingredient is the fragrance. This is to give our soap a nice smell. You can also skip this, it's optional. Now we are also going to add the fragrance into the soap, and then we are going to mix to combine everything together. At this point, you can add a preservative, but I'm not using any preservative because this is a very small batch and I'll use it up very soon. But if you're making for sale or in a large batch, then add a preservative. After mixing in the fragrance, you'll notice that your soap will be a bit cloudy. Don't worry, once it stays for a while, it will become transparent again. Now our soap is completely ready. Let's test it to see. Now I have a bowl of water. I'm just going to add some of the soap into the water and we'll see how well it lathers. As you can see, it lathers so well. This liquid soap is multi-purpose. You can use it to wash your dishes, you can use it for house cleaning, a lot of things. I'll be using this soap to do the dishes, so I'm just transferring it into my bottle, a pump bottle, so it will be easier to use. I hope you found this video helpful and I trust that you'll be making yours because this soap is so good. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, drop a comment and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on more amazing recipes like this one. Bye.